Peace, everybody. I am recovering from a cold. There's so many people that I want to hug that I'm gonna not, but I couldn't not be here. Kenya, you're one of them. My name is Akilah, and I've had the joy of reaping the benefits of being a sister friend of and with Leslie for a very long time. There have been a few instances where I've been at gatherings with kid cultivators. I think it was your daughter that was going to culinary school, yep. Right? So I remember that series of conversations because I was at one of the park events at the time, and we traveled quite a bit, and just Leslie and I connected, and I feel like I know and love kid cultivators because I know and love Leslie W. Bray. And I'm so grateful for the ask to be here, to be part of this closing out of this space. There's so many familiar faces here, people who we've done life together in certain ways, and it's really beautiful to see the ways that our lives are interconnected and to be a witness to the level of love and appreciation and celebration of this thing that is Kid Cultivators. Like you, I didn't write something down because there was no way that I could come up with a set of words in advance. I wanted to be here. I wanted to feel and hear and connect with what folks were saying. I wanted to hear the cracks in the voices. I wanted to see Leslie's and just be here and give that energy, woo woo, and be here and just be in that. And there was something, as I was just being in the energy of this experience, even this morning before I got here, there was something that Leslie said in a recent talk that I saw, and I never heard you say, even though I have so many Leslie notes, you know this. There was something you said, Leslie, that feels so appropriate for this closing out, this letting this thing die, so to speak, letting the version of it that it has become die so that it can be composted and differently utilized. This thing that was in service of this particular body of kid cultivators, as it dies, returns to the ground, compost will now serve so much more than this one thing because of all the people and the experiences and the love and the ripples. And this felt so connected to that. Leslie, you said, you will never feel safe in spaces where you're not being honest. That was church when you said that. You will never feel safe in spaces where you're not being honest. That's important here today because what I know is Leslie, who I know is Leslie, and what I know is that it is a very honest act, an act of radical honesty to let something end when there's risk involved. It was probably easier in certain ways to let it do its thing in a certain way and let different people manage the pieces and find ways, but this act of radical honesty to say, it has ended, I am finished in this way, not this thing is over, because it can't ever be over. It's about people, and you successfully, effectively cultivated community and taught others and learned from others what it meant to be yourself and for us to be ourselves together. And that is all about honesty. So much of healthy, effective communal personal leadership is about developing the skill to be honest, to see and be seen, to say what's true for you without it being more important than what might be true for someone else. All I kept hearing today, all I've heard from all of the times that Leslie and I have connected is about this willingness of these people, these families, these constellations that became this ecology, this willingness to see and be seen. This willingness to practice what it means to be honest when for so many of us, that's the most scary thing. For many of us, being honest, being who we actually are, saying what we mean for real, wasn't safe. Still might not feel safe. But what a blessing to be in a space where you were able to practice that, and that will always be with you. So this phrase, you will never feel safe in spaces where you're not being honest, feels like one of the very important artifacts of Kid Cultivators. Facilitating a necessary ending is a radical act of honesty. It's a level of respect for the people and energies that comprise a community. That's the only thing I managed to jot down as a cohesive statement. There are all these other dots and elements, and it feels so appropriate because that's what this is. It's not a melting down into one thing. It is everything being exactly what it is together.
Yes.
Right? And that's so beautiful. When I really feel into what Leslie is and does and what Leslie brings into a room, the word truth-telling doula wrote itself in my precious, beautiful notebook. This is my favorite notebook, and I wanted it in here. Truth-telling doula, leadership support, consistent invitations for education on communal practices. This is the legacy of Kid Cultivators. You are the legacy of Kid Cultivators. This entity is the same age as my youngest child. That's so, it's such a sacred mindset for me to think about, oh my goodness, 20 years, if we count the planning year, that is Kid Cultivators. And this legacy of radical honesty, this legacy of the practice grounds of how do I risk expression? What does it mean to raise free people when I myself don't feel like I'm free to say this thing or do this thing? How do I move in a way that is reflective of what I have respect for but might not like in a moment? How do I move when somebody upsets me in a space that I care about? You know, I've heard so many people talk about how it started out as something for our children, like what unschooling started out to be for Chris and me. It was for our children, but then it was so much more than that. And I've come across so many people who don't even live here who know and love and appreciate what Kid Cultivators does, even as distant witnesses. So when we talk about the legacy of this thing that is Kid Cultivators, it may not always look like this, but that's what legacy means. Legacy means it is a different aspect that is rooted in something. So now Kid Cultivators is roots. These are people's roots. These are your roots. And so I'm so delighted, so honored to be here to witness each of you, some of whom I know and care so much about, and some of you I don't know and also care so much about, because you mean so much to someone who means so much to me. And as somebody who really understands our family's version of what it means to consider Black liberation in practice, like not in a book, not in theory, not just somewhere, but like for real, like I know y'all know, like what it means to be who we are as Black folks and be in a space to learn how to be what we are together while making room for our children to be who they are meant to be. What a legacy to be part of. Thank you so much as somebody who wasn't here the whole time, who benefits and will continue to benefit and whose children will benefit from what you even allowed to be witnessed by your willingness to continually risk expression. Your mom talked about how you're diplomatic and you have this way and this gentle demeanor. True. Also, there's this warrior. There's this woman who insists on liberatory practice being a real thing that we actually understand in our bones and embody, and not just something we can speak to with eloquence. Leslie is articulate. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Leslie is an eloquent person, and sometimes, as somebody who also is good with words, that can be such a front. You know, you can be so slick when you're good with words. You can do a thing that is, you know, a safe distance from your actual feelings and what you need. So I know what it looks like when people do it. And I know what it looks like when people insist on not doing it. And that's Leslie. Leslie doesn't show up to offer something to the people. Leslie is in it. She's in it. She's guiding, she's receiving, she's listening, and we're reflecting that in all of these ways. Truth-telling, honesty, love, care, commitment, consistency, the sort of things many of us crave that so many of you have gotten as a result of being here with Leslie. In this moment, as we say goodbye and thank you, I love you, appreciate you to Kid Cultivators, I invite you to consider what you will do with what you have gotten from this incredible thing. How has your personal legacy and your family's legacy been altered by this here? What are the aspects, the archives, the relics that will live beyond this moment? What have you learned? Where will you use it? Who will you touch as a result of all of the things you have gotten and given in being a part of Kid Cultivators? Whatever that is, may it serve you. We know it will serve beyond you and yours. And Leslie, thank you so much for being the person 2 decades ago that said yes to this, invited others into it, allowed yourself to be shaped by it, and will continue to be shaped beyond it. I'm so excited for your life. I'm so excited for everybody's life with the spaciousness and deep data that came from Kid Cultivators. Thank you for an opportunity to love on you out loud. Thank you all for being here, for my sister, friend, and for each other. We need each other, y'all know that. And so may this thing be laid to rest, and may everything that it touches thrive. Thank you, Leslie.